Okay, hello everyone, and welcome back to World of Tanks. Going to be doing a garage review here of the Jagdpanther, which is a Tier 7 German tank destroyer. And let me actually purchase improvements. There we go. Oh, having equipment on sale is so useful. But anyway, yeah, so this is the Tier 7, well, a Tier 7 German premium tank destroyer. And how does it compare to other tank destroyers of the tier? Well, it's got 850 HP, which is not as much as the ISU 122S, and it's definitely not as much as the AT-15A. But compared to a couple of other things, for example, you've got what do the French have? There we go, French. They've got the AMX AC-46, which has got 820 HP. You've got the American fixed gun tank destroyer, which is the T25AT, and that has got 840 HP. China doesn't have one. None of these guys do, apart from actually Sweden. Brand new Sweden, which has got 800 HP, so it doesn't have the most HP out of all of the Tier 7 tank destroyers, but it also doesn't have the least amount. It's actually fairly high in the amount of HP that it has, so that's good. As for the hull armor, 80, 50 and 40 at the rear. However, it is 80 at a very good sloped angle, which means that it has a lot more than 80 at the front of the tank, which means that poking over ridge lines perhaps is going to help increase that effective angling, and also some of your own angling as well. And if shots hit at a bad angle, they will ricochet off. So there's that. Compared to something like the ISU, which has got 90 at the front, but it's 90 but not very sloped at all. So yeah, this has got more effective armor than it would appear. As for mobility, it is based on the Panther after all, so it's got a 700 horsepower engine. If we have a look here, Maybach HL 230 TRM P30. With 700 horsepower, which means that it weighs 46 tons with a 49 ton load limit, which means that it does have a 15.23 horsepower per ton ratio, which is pretty good compared to something like the IS2, which has only got 12, 10 for the VK4503, 9 for the AT-15A. I mean, here's the Panther M10, which is just a Panther which looks a bit different, and that's got exactly the same stats as the Jagdpanther. It's got the same horsepower per ton ratio. It's got less top speed somehow, but it weighs the same with the same horsepower engine. So yeah, there's that. So yeah, it's basically like a Panther, because that's what it is. It's just the tank destroyer version of the Panther. But yeah, so it's very mobile, which is very useful for getting around the battlefield. As for concealment, it's got a 17.1 concealment value, which isn't as good as the ISU for some reason, but it is better than the AT-15A. I mean, what else? Oh, looking at the light tank, that's got 18. So, I mean, it's almost as concealed as the 1357 Grand Finals. So, it's fairly stealthy. If nothing else, if nothing else. As for spotting, it's got a 358 meter view range with a pretty good radio. There you go, a FUG 12 radio, which has got 710 signal range, so that's good. The Germans always had good radios. I find that the Germans are sort of radio king, with I believe the British are next. But so yeah, it's got very good signal range, and it's got decent enough spotting range. Then again, you can always improve it with improved vents and, well, improved vents, but also binos and camo net and things. So yeah, I might actually get a camo net on this thing. Why not? Boom. There we go. 7,000 credits. But now we move on to the firepower, and this is the top gun that you can get. Well, it's one of the two top guns that you can get, which is the 88 PaK 43 L71. It's actually almost identical to the gun that is found on this thing, the 88 Jagdtiger. There we go. So, comparing these two guns, here is the gun on the Jagdpanther, here is the one on the Jagdtiger. So, they're both an 88mm gun. The Jagdtiger has better rate of fire, 11.1 compared to 9.8. Both have got 203 average penetration, with 237 with APCR, which isn't actually that big of a difference. Both have got 44 with high explosive, 240 average damage for an 88, 295 with HE, but then who really uses HE? The Jagdtiger is 0.01 more accurate with 0.31 dispersion compared to 0.32. 2.3 second aim time for the Jagdpanther, 2 second aim time for the Jagdtiger, and they both have got the same weight. So it's a very good gun, is basically what I'm trying to say. It's got very good penetration. 203 pen is very good. You'll be able to cut through much armor with that. It's got decent damage. It's got a pretty high rate of fire. I mean, 5.1 reload time. I mean, it's very accurate with a decent enough aim time. So that's a very good gun. Now, there's also a different gun that people would like to use, which is this, the 105 PAC L52, which is, of course, a 105 tank gun with a 7.32 rate of fire rounds per minute, which is slower. There you go, we get them up here. So you got the 105 on the left, the 88 on the right. So the 105's got a slower rate of fire with 3 less penetration, but more APCR penetration and better high explosive pen. It does more damage, 320 compared to 240, with 420 average damage with HE compared to 295. Slightly more inaccurate, 0.34, which is still decent, and a 1.7 second aim time. So that's an alternative that you can use. I'm using the 88 because I haven't unlocked the 105 yet. But I will probably stick with the 88 for the high rate of fire and things like that. But the 105 is still a valid option. -8 degrees of gun depression, which is quite good. 14 gun elevation isn't that great though. But yeah, 0.3 dispersion with 100% crew and the vents. 2.16 aim time. 11 and 11 gun traverse, which isn't actually that great. It's about there and there. So I mean, it's not a great gun traverse. But it does have a DPM of 2,798 compared to this thing's. Not too sure what the DPM of that thing is, but yeah, so it's very good at putting out damage quickly. It's kind of like the 17 pounder in that respect. But yeah, so there's that. It carries 57 88 ammunition, which is good. Standard consumables down there. As for the equipment, gun rammer is always a useful thing to have. Caminet and binos combination is a good idea on this. It's definitely a sniper in all regards. Improved vents is always useful. Wet Amarak and tanks filled with CO2. There we go. In case you keep getting set on fire or Amarak respectively, then you can go ahead and put them on. Spore liner, I'd say probably no. Don't bother with it. Your armor is alright, but it's not the most armored thing in the game at this tier. So, yeah. Coated optics if you want to increase your view range but don't want to have the binos. For example, if you go with improved vents and a gun rammer and you don't want to have a caminet, then you can always put coated optics because they're always useful. Gun lane drive, you don't really need it. It's got a good. It's got a decent aim time, so you don't need to bother with that. Enhanced suspension, you could do if you keep getting detract. Then yeah, sure, there's that. Tanks filled with CO2, I've gone over that, and toolbox is always a useful thing to just plonk on there if you can't think of what to put in there. So yeah. As for the crew, it's a crew of 5, of course. So you've got your standard commander, gunner, driver, radio operator, gunner, or loader even. As for the commander, training 6th Sense, you'll want 6th Sense on this tank. I've got a Pascucci's medal in this. Interesting. But yeah, so you'll want 6th Sense in this tank. Eagle Eye is always useful, combined with Deadeye, especially on this gun, which is rapid fire. Then yeah, that's a good idea. Eagle Eye. Jack of all trades, if you want, go ahead and put that on if you trained everything else. Recon is always useful, go ahead and train up that. Mentor I don't see the point in, and there's your common skills. As for the gunner, of course, training Deadeye, so rapid fire 88, you're going to want to have Deadeye to do all of those damaging hits. So Snapshot, you don't really have a turret, so I mean, maybe if you're sort of like stopping and shooting quickly, but otherwise I would say no, don't bother with it. Armourer is a pretty accurate gun. You may want Armourer if you don't want to use a repair kit on your gun. Designate target, always useful, go ahead and train that, and then you've got your common skills. As for the driver, training clutch braking, because the mobility is a 34.99 reverse speed, which isn't that great, so gonna want to train up clutch braking. Smooth ride if you want to fire on the move, maybe not a bad idea, but then again I would say probably wait and aim, but I mean if you want to fire on the move, go ahead and train up that. Off-road driving is always useful, gonna train that up next. Controlled impact, you don't really want to be ramming things, you don't really have the health nor the armor really to ram things, so I'd say probably don't bother with that. Preventive maintenance, if you keep getting set on fire, train up that, and then you've got your common skills. As for the radio operator, I am training relay because you don't need to train up signal boosting right away because you have got a good radio. So signal boosting will help, or relay, sorry, will help the rest of your team out so you can be a team player. Then signal boosting if you really want to, but I would say probably hold off on that because you can always train situational awareness first. Call for vengeance, yeah, if you want, and then you've got your common skills. Then finally, got the loader. And as for the loader, I'm training safe stowage, because safe stowage is always useful, especially in the side. The ammo racks are located on the side of the superstructure, sort of up here. So yeah, ammo racks are located in the side of the superstructure here, sort of down here or on the sides, which means that getting hit on the side will most likely ensue ammo rack damage. So safe stowage is going to be pretty helpful. Adrenaline rush is also always useful, and then intuition in case you keep switching between AP and APCR. Maybe not so much useful on the 88, but with the 105 you may switch between AP and APCR, but I mean it's up to you. And then you've got your common skills. So overall, it's a dangerous tank destroyer if it gets you in its cone of fire, because one shot every 5 seconds about, if they're using the 88, will quickly whittle down your health and can also keep you permanently tracked. So it's a dangerous vehicle, maybe not so much when it gets spotted, because the armor, whilst alright, is not as effective at this tier, because you've got guns which have got 203 penetration, such as this one. You've got the big 122s of the Russian tanks, and so things will most likely penetrate you. I mean, side scraping and angling is going to be effective up to a point, but mostly they'll be able to get through you. But it's got a very damaging gun, plus it's an iconic tank. I mean, who would get tired of seeing a Jagdpanther? I mean, it's just a really, really nice tank. So yeah, that's the Jagdpanther. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.